Greetings, 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 greetings. Wagwan. This is your brother Chief Flying Eagle, Ra Elohim, the Black Identity Slayer. All right. Now, I'm going to I would say I have about an hour here because I got to do a lesson at 6 p.m. Central Time, right? With that being said, I did a live earlier just to address some things, to put some things in perspective. All right. By no means, like I tell people, I'm not here to attack anyone. That has never been my nature, and that will never be my nature. You feel me? Because my goal and my purpose is for the unification of the American Indians across the Americas. You feel me? The empire will be reestablished. You feel me? So, with that being said, I know the prior live I just did, some people would take that a little bit different, and some people will take it, like I said, out of context. Maybe, I don't know. But I hope the message was clear. You feel me? But I have to now do another video to create the balance because to certain people that may come off as being one-sided. You feel me? So with that being said, let us talk about the FBA perspective. You dig? And I'll forever call myself the Black Identity Slayer because it's not personal to anybody. It's against the system. Because of what I know, black means in law. It means salivito matus. It means dead in law. So I'll always be the Black Identity slave because I've seen the damage it has done to our people. Because the truth of the matter is, our people's complexion, whether they call themselves FBA or not, their complexions are brown. You feel me? They are brown and they are not black. So therefore, it's a status, and the status means that you are a slave in the system. So I'm always going to teach that. But the reason why I have to create the balance is this. People who identify as FBA, let's take away the lawful aspect. Let's take that away from FBA and just look at it for what it is. Foundational Black American. Okay? I grew up in Brooklyn, and me personally, I can only speak with my experience. I have never, ever had any problems with any individual that you would call an FBA in New York. Never have. Grew up like brothers and sisters. You feel me? So what's happening right now with the attacks that's happening on either sides? I tell people, you know what? I had a conversation with a sister earlier and we had a long talk. You know what I mean? And I get to see both sides. And even on TikTok, what people don't realize is this, and I will say it. Our people on the whole are a loving people. People who identify as FBA in the United States, they are a loving people. And I've always said that our people, that's the way we are naturally. You feel me? But I'm not sure, and I'm going to go on a limb and say this. I think there's a hand that's moving the buttons, that's creating this division. And then all of a sudden, I realized that I've seen it on TikTok. Pan-Africans, people from the Caribbean, and different ethnic groups attacking people that identify as the FBAs. Now, me personally, that's not something I do, and I will never do that. You feel me? So what people don't realize is this. When you are being pushed and you get tired of being pushed, you're going to react. You feel me? And that's why I have to do this video to create the balance. You did. Because the truth of the matter is the people who identify as FBA, they are justified. They are justified in fighting back with the attack that they have been facing. And that is just a fact. Because I see it on Facebook. One of the number one rules in the universe is self-preservation. And I've seen the smallest animal in nature fight back and defend themselves against bigger animals. So people that's in the Caribbean, that's why I tell people, I don't care where you're from. Anytime you're disrespecting my people, and I've always said this, FBAs are my people. You feel me? Yes, we all have to do our due diligence to show and prove through our genealogy, not DNA, that we did not come from Africa. Even on the FBA site, it says that they came here in 1524. But even with me teaching that, guess what I also say? That they are not Africans. You feel me? That is an agenda that's being pushed. And some of them may or may not know that. You feel me? So they are responding to what they know. And that's why I teach people how to do their genealogy. You feel me? And let's get to the bottom of all this. Because the more we stay divided, the bottom line is this: we are never going to win that war. We are never going to win that war. So I always take up, for me personally, that's just me speaking, right? That's why I tell people like this: I grew up a little bit different. Because when Caribbean people, everybody have a sense of pride of the landmass that they were actually born on. You feel me? But people from the Caribbean are brainwashed, okay? They are miseducated, and everybody just need to chill, fall back. Let's have an open discussion with everything that's happening. You see what I'm saying? Because if y'all keep pushing at people, people have a right to defend themselves. And I'm being totally honest with that. You feel me? Even when I'm on TikTok and I go through certain, TikTok lives, I hear Pan-Africans, I hear Africans, I hear Caribbean people, and they team up with the Africans. You know what I'm saying? To disrespect FBAs. Regardless of how I feel about the term black, it has nothing to do with that. I'm talking about a particular specific group of people that call themselves FBAs. You feel me? And Caribbean people and Africans and Pan-Africans have teamed up. I've seen it. But I do think it's a bigger hand at play. I think it was strategized by, honestly, that's just my opinion. I think it was strategized and put in place by a bigger hand, a higher power, to create division. But that's neither here or there. So when you attack people, of course, people are going to, come on, if somebody attack your brother, attack your sister, it doesn't matter how you feel about them. Guess what? They're going to come together and defend themselves. So I always tell people, especially when I'm having that conversation with this sister earlier, that I totally get it. I comprehend, I understand, I understand. You feel me? The position of people who identify as FBA. It is really that simple. And I get, once again, I get it from that perspective of you wanting to separate yourself from everybody else. I get that. For me personally, that's just my opinion. I don't think is the solution. And I'll tell you why. Because once again, I think there is a more powerful hand at play that's orchestrating all of this. And they are always 50 moves ahead. They are always 50 moves ahead. And sometimes we just have to have the discernment to see that. And sometimes we can take the higher road, but you could only take the higher road so far. So from my experience, like I always tell people, I have no problem with anybody. I'm about the collective. I'm about teaching. And even it doesn't matter who it is that come to me and ask me about information, whether it's about genealogy, guess what? I don't charge them. I teach them how to do their genealogy for free, because I know that is the ultimate solution to everything that's happening right now. You feel me? Doing your genealogy and taking the concept out of your mind that you came here in 1524. You feel me? Because like I've said before, the majority, literally 95% to 98% of the people who identify as FBA, they are not Africans. I've said that over and over and over again. The only problem is this: as far as the law is concerned, when you identify as black, the law is saying that you are from Africa. And you see, our personal emotions cannot change that because of the way it's coded in law. That is the reason why our people are going through what they're going through. And that's why I keep saying our people. And I've always said, regardless of how people feel about me, that's my people. You feel me? That's just the bottom line. So what's happening on TikTok? I know there are other private groups where it's, I even heard that it's some fan something. I've never been on that fan house, fan club. It's real crazy up in there. But I could only speak on what I've heard and seen on TikTok. And y'all cannot continue to attack people and don't expect them to push back. You feel me? Let's take away everything that's happening in the US right now. Everything. You cannot attack people and don't expect them to defend themselves. You feel me? So even if the video I did earlier, I still had to come and create the balance. You feel me? Create the balance to let people know that the people, once again, who identify as FBAs, what I would like y'all to do is this. Do your genealogy. You dig? Do your genealogy. Because you finding out that you're American Indian or you are actually an original indigenous man or woman of the land is not going to take away the fact that our people still deserve restitution. Our people still deserve redress. You feel me? The only caution that I caution is this, is getting it under the guise of saying that you came from Africa as a slave. You see, that could be problematic. And that's dangerous in regards to the system. You feel me? So I always like to make sure when I come teach things, I always stand on the truth. Regardless of what anybody say, anybody think, I always stand on the truth. And the video earlier was about the mere fact of the separation of separating Caribbean people from the Americas when it's convenient, from the United States when it's convenient. That's what that video was all about. But I didn't want people to take that out of context. So I have to come once again, create the balance here. You dig? Because I will stand and defend my people regardless. It doesn't matter from whom. From whom. And people will hear me constantly always talk about both sides because I get it from both sides. I've experienced it from both sides. You dig? So for all you people that's actually from the Caribbean, man, but a couple of things. For one, y'all ain't African. That's facts. But y'all out here screaming Africans. You feel me? And then you're tagging up with Africans to fight against your brothers and sisters from the United States. That's not a good look. And like I tell people, I will always draw the line. I am going to always beat on being black, no matter what you say. You feel me? Because I know what it means in the system. But when it comes to the individuals, you feel me? I always have a problem with anybody that's going to bully anybody. And that's just how I'm built. You dig? So I'm going to allow the individuals who identify as FBAs, I'm going to allow them to defend themselves without taking it personal. And at some point, once it get a little bit tiresome, then they will let it go when they feel they need to. But sometimes you have to vindicate yourself by letting people know, I'm not going to allow you to say these things about me and all of this and all of that. You dig? So I totally get it. You feel me? I get it. I just want to come on here and make sure that I don't want to send the wrong message across, because anybody who looks at my videos, anybody who's been following me for all these years, everybody know I'm about the collective. But a lot of times I tell people, don't allow the delivery and the conviction in the passion come off as anger. You feel me? I'm not angry. So when the sister reached out to me, you know, she said, Chief, you know what? I get the message. I get what you're saying, Chief, but not everybody may see it that way. And I said, sis, you know what? You're absolutely correct. So what I will do is I would rather do a video, once again, just to create the balance, because sometimes when we are speaking on things, we don't really fall back and realize there's always two sides to a coin, especially when we want to actually drive our point home. You dig? A lot of times we don't see the other side. And it's not that I don't see the other side. I speak on the other side. You dig? But once again, some people may take it and misconstrue it the wrong way. You dig? And that's all I wanted to come on this video and say. This is not an apology because there's nothing to apologize about. But however, what I'm saying is the people who identify, my brothers and sisters who identify as FBAs, all right, they are defending themselves from all the attacks. Because honestly, I don't think they were the ones who actually started the aggression. I really don't think so. Honestly, I don't know how it started. I heard it started on Fan Club or Fan House or something like that. But I really don't think that they started it. You feel me? I think that it was put in place for them to be attacked from a higher power. I personally think that. I cannot prove it just yet. But that's what I'm thinking. The same way I'm thinking that this new so-called, Black Panther thing, that is from another source. Something is not coherent about that. You see what I'm saying? So the system is pushing something, and whatever they are pushing, they want to get our brothers and sisters involved in the United States. You dig? So I'm actually happy that they are falling back and just chilling. I like that because sometimes silence is golden. So either way, I think the ancestors are working in their own way. You feel me? And that's one thing I like. So we're just gonna fall back and watch how everything fall into play. Because it doesn't matter what. Guess what? Everything is gonna happen the way it's supposed to. So if that's the way that my brothers and sisters that call themselves FBAs, if that's the way they could perceive what's happening, okay, is by being defensive, defending themselves so that they're able to, for there to be more unification. Well, guess what? I'm for that. Because after the unification, then the education could come. You see, because like I said, the ancestors, guess what? They work in mysterious ways. Some people say God work in mysterious ways. I'm going to say the ancestors. They work in mysterious ways. And if that's what it's going to take for Caribbean people, African people, Pan-Africans who are actually from the US, you dig, to come up against our brothers and sisters that call themselves FBAs, then let the ancestors make it happen that way. You dig? Because on either side, whomever is unrighteous, they're going to deal with the hands of the ancestors. I promise you that. Whether it's from the Caribbean side, the African side, the Pan-African side, or even the FBA side, anybody who's being unrighteous, they're going to deal with the consequences. You did. But if you guys are from the Caribbean, I'm asking you, as a man who was born in the Caribbean, just chill the hell out, man. Chill out. Fall back. You feel me? If you think you're African, that's on you. I'm from the islands and I ain't African. I will never side on the side. I will never side on the side of Africans against my people. I will never do that. In fact, I would never side with Caribbean people against my people. And y'all could take it whichever way you want. Because my people are indigenous people. My people are original American Indian people. Those are my people. Whether they are mislabeled or they just don't know just yet, those are still my people. You did? So I'm always going to stand for that. That's why I keep teaching. I keep teaching. I keep teaching because I know my teaching is not going to go in vain. And one of the first things that I want to accomplish on a huge scale, on a national scale, is to abolish Black History Month. Not taking away the experience of the people and not taking away the story of the people. I'm taking the identity away from my people. That's what I want to do. Okay? That's what I want to do. You dig? That's my goal. So I hope I make myself very clear. So I'm going to continue to push and call myself the Black Identity Slayer because I know the damage it's doing to our people, both from the spiritual, the physical, and the political systems. And this is real. You dig? So everybody's going to wake up in their own time. Everybody's going to wake up in their own time. What Africans do, Africans do. You feel me? But as a man that was born in the Caribbean, I could speak my mind as a man that was born in the Caribbean, and tell y'all Caribbean people to just chill the hell out, man. Just chill out. If y'all think y'all from Africa, man, it is what it is. Just be African. Because even the Africans are saying y'all ain't Africans right now. So what's going to happen? So y'all just got to chill, man. Everybody just got to chill and fall back and let the chips fall where they may. Because the ancestors are going to put everything in perspective. Every single thing is going to be in perspective. It's going to fall into place. And I'm always going to be on the side of righteousness. That's my goal, to be on the side of righteousness, to restore my people. I've said that from day one. I was sent here to restore my people. And I've always said, even if they don't see me as their people, it's okay. It's all right. Because that has always been the story of all the great ones who came. Their own people did not recognize them as their own people. You feel me? But I'll continue my journey of speaking and standing on truth. But at some point, somebody got to raise the white flag. We cannot expect to keep attacking people. What is the reason? Like, I'm trying to figure this out, right? What is the reason? What does it gain you to keep attacking a certain demographic of people? That's how I know this is an agent move. That's how I know this is something that's coming from the government. That's just my opinion. So let me put it this way. I can't say I know for a fact, but that's my opinion. I think it was orchestrated and people were put in place to antagonize and make sure that happened. You feel me? But either way, it is still bringing up some deeper issues, because nobody could come to me and plant no seed in me and tell me to attack my people. Nobody. So it had to be something that you already had in you. You feel me? That triggered, and then all of a sudden you're on the rampage attacking our brothers and sisters in the United States. So something is wrong with y'all mentally. You did. Because Africans don't live on the American continent. You do. And like I said, Africans are coming out, they're actually coming out now talking about people from the Caribbean ain't Africans. And I'm so glad they're speaking the truth, because only the truth will set us free, man. Only the truth will set us free, not illusions. It's the truth. And if we cannot stand on the truth, then we are all going to fall. The system is always going to win. These people are always 50 moves ahead, man. Always 50 moves ahead. So it pisses me off on either side, all right? But based on what I was told, okay, it wasn't our brothers and sisters that's calling themselves FBAs that started this whole attack. Because all I just ran into on TikTok is Pan-Africans fighting FBAs, Caribbean fighting FBAs, African fighting FBAs. That's all I ran into on TikTok. I don't know who started it, but a sister told me today in some other fan house or fan club, that's where she think it started. And then everybody started attacking people who identify as FBAs. You did? So if I didn't speak to her today about that, because I didn't know that aspect of that, she explained that to me. That's why I have to come do this video and let you know, if you're going to attack people, obviously they have a right to defend themselves. You did. Nobody wants to be bullied. And like I said, everything is happening for a reason. It's actually bringing our brothers and sisters closer together. So guess what? Sometimes, hey, guess what? By any means necessary, right? Sometimes there are what's called necessary evils. Just like how Lucifer was a necessary evil. Just like how Satan was a necessary evil. You feel me? So with that being said, it was a necessary evil for this Caribbean people, these Africans, and these Pan-Africans to attack my brothers and sisters in the United States that call themselves FBAs. Because guess what y'all did? Y'all brought them together. And that's a beautiful thing. So guess what's going to come next? They're going to start doing their genealogies. and they're going to start coming together. Hmm? Hmm? Somebody said, what now? All right, let me just go ahead and highlight some of the comments. All right. Yeah, absolutely, man. Because like I tell people, man, I'm just here to stand on truth. I'm not here to deal with the illusions. I'm just so sick and tired of our people being abused, whether it's by the system, whether it's by ourselves, whether it's by Africans, whether it's by whom. Man, listen, I'm just sick and tired of that. Our people deserve a break. You know what I'm saying? Our people been carrying a heavy load on their backs, particularly those in the United States. You see what I'm saying? So, apart from talking about the ancestral genocide and all that, it happened on all sides. But when we're talking about the constant systematic oppression, that is something that never stopped in the United States. At least people in the Caribbean, they have land, they grow food, you know what I'm saying? Don't pay rent and all those things, but live in a system that's constantly putting your people in jail. Live in a system where the system is constantly taking your children. Live in a system, every time you turn around, whoop, 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 beep, beep, the sound of the police. You see, a lot of people don't comprehend that. You feel me? So when you come attack them, they have a right to defend themselves because, I mean, it's pressure that was already boiling up from everything else. So I get it. I get it, man. You feel me? So anyway, I'm just showing a few comments on here. Okay. Osio, greetings. Welcome to the build. Somebody else says, funny part is FBA have islanders in their genealogy and islanders have the mainland. Well, that's true. And that's why I tell people I was sent to restore our people because I was the one that was sent with, from both sides of the aisle. You feel me? To be able to bring people together. And that's my goal. You did. But I never want it to seem like it's a one-sided thing because I have to make sure that people comprehend and understand the plight of our brothers and sisters in the United States. You did? We cannot take it lightly. Yes, we all went through colonial persecutions. You did. But let us talk about when the liberation supposedly happened. After the civil rights, supposedly, right? Guess what? They are still dealing with the systematic oppression. It's like they just cannot catch a break. So how the hell do you expect to attack them and you don't expect them to defend themselves? Huh? And that's the problem that I have. And I've said it on TikTok before. That's the problem that I have with everybody and this situation here. Africans are going to do what Africans do. I don't give a damn. You feel me? But for y'all people in the Caribbean, man, y'all need to chill the hell out. Like for real. Y'all need to chill out. Because when the Africans start turning their backs against you, because they already started doing that, they're already speaking the truth. It was the Rastafarians that came and started telling Jamaicans they are Africans, but they are not Africans. And all of a sudden, Africans starting to sing like Jamaicans and they're starting to talk like Jamaicans. They're already speaking the truth because they know y'all ain't Africans. You feel me? So just chill out. Ask questions in your communities. Let them show proof that you are actually from Africa. Let them prove it. Because they can't. Because you did not come from Africa. All that was put in place. Bob Marley, what's his name? Marcus Garvey, Paul Bogle, all these people in the music, Mama Africa, all this thing was, trust me, it was systematically put in place intentionally. So y'all brainwashed. You dig? So just chill, man. Chill. If Africans want to attack our brothers and sisters, let them do it. We can't control what Africans do. I cannot even control what you do. But the point I'm making you know is you are actually attacking your brothers and sisters. That's what you're doing. You feel me? Africans are from a whole different continent. It's not that I don't care about them. You feel me? At some point, we may be distant cousins, whatever the case is. I respect that. We may be distant brothers and sisters. I respect that. But I'm talking about the children of the Americas. Y'all need to chill with that bullshit. Like for real, for real. You dig? And this is not just something I'm just saying. I'm speaking the truth. And that's just what it is. Foundational Black Americans, they will take their time and they will learn the truth, and eventually they will drop. Well, I'm hoping they will drop the black part of it. And if you just want to call yourself an American, I'm fine with that, because guess what? We are the only Americans. So I know a lot of times I'm always kind of a little ahead of my time. I get it. But I'm always on time for others. And that's why, like I tell people, I've gotten calls from people who identify as FBAs and asked me to help them with their genealogy. I never turned them back. I was happy. As a matter of fact, it made my day, because that's what I'm fighting for. That's what I'm pushing for, to show them and prove to them that they are actually not from Africa. You feel me? Come on, man. We got to stop the BS. We got to stop. You said facts. You said facts can't attack their minds to think, so they attack the folks that are pushing them to think. Well, yeah, I get that. I get that. I get that. You know what I mean? It says an African laughed in Speed's face and told him, "We know you're not African," and he still believed the lie. Well, honestly, I don't think Speed think he's African. You see, Speed is one of the most popular what you call TikTokers, or just influencers on a whole. And I think that there's always a higher hand. There's always a higher hand at play. Always. You feel me? There's always a higher hand at play. And I just think there's a higher hand at play, all right, in pushing an agenda. The agenda is already in place, but too many people can't see it, because the pieces are not, they're different pieces of the puzzle. Now, I could give you my opinion on that. You did. So I think what's being done is Speed is being used, okay? We are hearing certain talks of reparations and different things. Here's the thing. A lot of our brothers and sisters don't realize this, okay? They're not going to get reparations from the United States. That's just a fact. Because the United States took the liability of slavery away from them, and they gave it to the Native Americans. Go look at the laws. That's why the United States will not be the one giving reparations. If reparations do come about, it's going to be through what's called private institutions and certain fundraising. But it's not going to come from the United States directly. You see what I'm saying? That's why they have to take it to the state and not the federal. Because the United States corporation, they knew exactly what they were doing. They make sure that they were indemnified. They make sure that they were exempt from lawsuits from slavery. That's why they put the burden on Native American tribes and other institutions. You feel me? So my brothers and sisters in the U.S., they are not going to get reparations from the U.S. government per se. But if they do get it from these private organizations, I think everything that's leading up to is this. If you take the money, then you are saying that you're an African that came from Africa, and they are going to make sure you get to Africa. You feel me? No, I'm not saying that's conclusive. That's what I'm seeing based on the way things are happening, the way things are playing out. And sometimes because we don't really fall back and think about things, we don't process things, we don't analyze those things, and we don't realize that we are actually at war. You feel me? We go into certain situations blindly, and we don't realize what's going on. You feel me? And I think that's something that needs to be considered and pay attention to. Because the Japanese have gotten reparations. Chinese have gotten reparations. The July people have gotten reparations. There are Italians. Everybody, every individual has gotten a form of compensation, except for our brothers and sisters in the United States. Even the people in the Caribbean has gotten some form of a little bit of liberation, because, you know, they get to live on the land. They get to eat food. Even if the governments are still oppressing them to an extent, there's a little more flexibility. But our brothers and sisters in the United States, it's been a constant feat on their necks. And I've always talked about it. Anybody could go look at my track record. For 26 years, I've been helping brothers with child support situation. For 26 years. How many people could say that? I've been doing that. So I've always fought for my people because I know it's systematic. So I know the pain. I see the pain. I get the frustration. And then here comes people attacking you. Of course you're going to fight back. Of course you're going to retaliate. Because that's just the laws of the universe. Reciprocity. Whatever you put out is going to come back. So when people put it out, and then when it comes back, they're going to get mad and they're blaming you. They're trying to make you the problem. You feel me? So I tell people I have to always create the balance and be fair in everything, man. You feel me? And I'm glad I had the talk with the sister, because even if I made the video earlier, for anybody who listens with discernment, it wasn't an attack on anybody in particular. You feel me? It was about talking about the interconnectivity that we all played, the role in creating in what we have today. And I don't think it should be taken away from other indigenous original people of the land. You did. But then when I spoke to the sister, she said, Chief, you know what? You spoke the truth. But to some people who don't know the truth, it might come off another way. And I'm like, well, sis, well, I didn't ask, what do you mean? She just told me what she meant. And she said it plainly. This started, she think it started in some fan house where FBAs were being attacked. And this is what happened. And all of a sudden it ended up on TikTok. And I was like, okay, you know what? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. You did? So when you don't know, it's one thing. You did? But I always made an attempt to keep the balance because I don't like attacking people. But now that I know what it is, I have to speak on it. I have to. So it does make sense. If you're bullying people that's been bullied their entire lives, then eventually, if they cannot attack the biggest bully, then they will find somebody to bully that's attacking them that they feel they could beat. And it makes perfect sense. So I get it. I get it. With all that being said, I know that one thing is this: we are all brothers and sisters in the Americas. I know that much. And whatever it is, like 2, 3, 4, a few million mothers' children, we are going to work it out. I know we are. Because I want to make sure that our people are restored. And when we get restored, we'll have everything in abundance. This is more than just a paycheck. This is about our land. This is about our sovereignty. This is about our self-determination. This is about leave us the hell alone. Well, I get it. I get what you're saying. All right. A lot of it is about, okay, somebody says they're talking about Clubhouse. Well, I don't know what that is. I think maybe it's just a social media, right? Where people get on social media and they talk. I don't know. I guess that's what it is. I don't know. Right. But the bottom line is this: our brothers and sisters in the US that identify as FBA, they felt that they were being attacked by Caribbean people, Africans, and Pan-Africans, even if the Pan-Africans are actually from the US themselves. You feel me? So I get it. So when people come against you, you have a right to defend yourself. It's really that simple. Now, you said a lot of it really is because of reparations. Well, that became the frontal or the pivotal conversation because of reparations. You feel me? That became that. So now, like I said, I think there is a bigger hand at play. That's what I'm saying. To create the division. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. It's because right now, the energy is supposed to be where indigenous people around the Americas come together for the restoration of the people. You dig? But the controlling hand, they don't want that. They don't like that. So they have to create certain distractions. You feel me? And I think that's exactly what's happening. Not that our people don't deserve restitution. Not that our people don't deserve compensation. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's quite interesting to me while all of this is going on, the United States has taken the liability away from them for slavery, but then they push it to the states where our people seem to be begging for reparations. They should not be begging for any type of compensation. You feel me? They went through the oppression. They went through the genocide. So give them the compensation. But they keep passing the buck. So the frustration will be there. You feel me? So I just think, once again, the reparations talk from the colonizer's perspective, I think, is the carrot that's being dangled in front of the horse. And they're saying, well, here, we're showing you the carrot. Just keep chasing the carrot as the horse while we are actually on the back of those horses, and we got the carrot dangling in front of your face. You dig? And you will never get it, but we're going to give you the illusion. And to me, that's a problem. And that's why I tell people the ultimate solution, in my opinion, is the coming together of we, the original people, because we are stronger together. But first, we have to iron out the bullshit that's happening between us. We have to do that. And those who cannot see what it is, and those who cannot get in line with the unification, then you got to go. And I'm not talking about anything violent, because I'm not on here, preaching, violence. I don't do that. You did. But when I say you got to go, is, in other words, you got to get away from us. Get away from us, because we have something bigger that we are fighting for. We have something bigger that we are fighting for. We are fighting for our elders. Let me give you a typical example. I've dealt with situations where our elders, now they're right here in the United States, not my elder per se, immediate elder, but from an individual you may call, or individuals you may call FBA, right? And their elders got in situations where they're in the hospital, okay? And guess what? One of them was, it's two different situations. But the bottom line was this, right? Their elders was in the hospital, and they were doing just fine. And same situation, identical. And I'm like, no, it's not a coincidence. So when they told them that you could come get your parent or your parents, right? As in singular parent, you could come get them the next day from the hospital. When they're calling, getting ready to go pick up their parent, guess what? The hospital is telling them on both occasions, two different people, two different states, that, well, their temperature dropped and you cannot come get them. What you mean? Yesterday they was just fine. So we realized that there was some foul play. So they reached out to me, and guess what? I took action. And in less than 3 days, parents was home by me writing documents. You feel me? So I'm always helping my people. People don't know what I do behind the scenes. You dig? People don't get that. They don't know what I do behind the scenes. More situations in Florida, child support situation. Guess what? The chief got involved. Situations are being resolved. Children back at the house. Now I just got a call with a document thinking, well, my brother, they saying that he owed $20,000. Guess what they say? Now you don't owe $20,000. You don't owe $20,000. Guess what? We're going to give you a refund of $1,500. People don't realize the work that I do behind the scenes. You dig? I do it for real, for real. So I know what our people are going through. So I will never attack my people. It doesn't mean I will not speak the truth, and speak the truth with conviction, speak the truth with passion. And sometimes people take it the wrong way, and it's okay. You cannot fault me for that. And I'm not going to fault you for that either. You know why? Because some people are just not ready for the information. So I get it. There's always going to be a pushback. There's always going to be resistance. You did. But when it's all said and done, everything is going to play out. Everything is going to be out in the open. Everything will fall into place. All right? So, my advice, once again, to my brothers and sisters who identify as FBA, I would suggest you do your genealogy. And I've done lessons on that for free, where I don't charge nobody for that. I see people charging people $1,400 for genealogy, charging people all type of astronomical fees to do their genealogy. Guess what? I teach it for free. In fact, I even wrote a book for just about $12 or $13 where you could do it for free on my website on myniji.com. You know why? Because I care. And sometimes people just don't see that. People just don't see it because they choose not to see it. You did. Anybody could go through all my videos and see the type of energy that I bring, see the type of message that I bring. I've always done that. But I didn't know the extent, once again, I didn't know the extent of this situation that's taking place until I had a conversation with one of the sisters today. And she explained to me what's happening. And I'm like, okay, I get it, because all of a sudden it came from nowhere. It just popped up. And that's why I tell myself it is just too suspect. Now, something is going on. It's deeper than what people think it is. It's deeper than that, because the colonizers, they are always ahead in the game. They always put themselves 50 moves ahead. So even when you go left, they already know you're going left, because they create the situation where you only have a choice to go left. If you go right, they know you're going right, because they only create the situation to make sure you go right. You did? And that's why we have to use discernment. You feel me? And that's why I'm happy that my brothers and sisters who identify as FBA, they are using discernment, all right, and coming together and watching the chips fall. To me, that is spiritual discernment. So I like that. You dig? Let everybody deal with whatever situation they have to deal with, even people from the Caribbean. Let them deal with what they got to deal with because of their ignorance. Because people perish for the lack of knowledge. And I will continue to say this. Indigenous people cannot be illegal in their own land. And if they don't get that message, then ain't nothing I could do for them. Nothing I could do but watch the chips fall where they may. You dig? But don't disrespect your brothers and sisters. And then when it all comes down to the nitty gritty, those Africans are going to speak the truth and tell you you're not African. What are you going to do now? You're going to come and apologize? Don't wait until you get into situations to apologize. Well, here we go again. Here we go again. You see, I have to show you guys on screen. You call me a tether. I'm an American Indian. I don't know who you are. You see, there goes. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Those Africans, those real Africans descendants, that's them. You see what I'm saying? That's them. And that's how you shall know them, by their fruits. You did? That's what it is. But it's okay, though. It's all right. I don't even know what a tether is, and I don't care. I really don't care what it is. You feel me? I don't care what it is. And that's why I tell people, it doesn't matter who you are. If you have a hateful heart or you have an unrighteous heart, you are always going to show your true colors. So come show your true colors. Come show it. Because I know a lot of you just can't wait to show your true colors. Come show your true colors. You did. Don't you think people from the Caribbean will call me sellout too? You think I care? I don't care. Because I stand on the principles of truth. That's what I stand on. So it doesn't matter who come on here and try to attack me. I don't give a damn. You could be an African. Okay, you could be somebody from the Caribbean. You could be somebody from different parts of the Americas. You could be somebody from the United States. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. It doesn't matter, because you attacking me is not going to change anything in my life. But what I do know is I'm going to continue to stand for, for truth. You did? And I've always said that. Like I said, I've always said this. Let me just take y'all back real quick to something. Let me show y'all something real quick. Hold on. All right, let me see if I can find this. Give me 1 second here. Hopefully I can find it. Hold on. I want to see if I can show something here real quick. Let me get into hold on. Go into my YouTube studio. Just pull up here for 1 second. Hold on for 1 second, all right? Let me see if I could find that. Hold on. Let me see something. Because people, let me see something. Hold on for a second. Hopefully I could find that. All right. All right. Spiritual warfare. When was that? 2016. 2016. Hold on for a second. All right. I'm going to go all the way back. Hold on for a second. I want to show you a video I did in about 2011. Okay. With me helping, talking up to fathers in about, family court. You dig? So I want to show people that I've always been doing this. You see, a lot of you new jags that just come on the scene, you will not get it because y'all just coming into this. But I've been doing this for a very, 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 very long time because I know the systematic oppression. I know what's going on. All right. And I had to go through some of the experiences to be able to know what it was, because you could never walk in anybody's shoe without knowing exactly how it feels. You feel me? So I had to go through certain experiences in the system to see the overall picture of what it was. All right. So I tell people, man, listen, this is not a game. We are at war, and we don't have any time to be out here fighting each other. But at the same time, we cannot go to war against the oppressor and be at war with ourselves. So the point I'm making is there are certain things that need to be put in place. Certain things need to be straightened out. It needs to be ironed out. So everything that's happening is for a reason. Everything that's happening is for a reason. And I'm going to continue to stand on that. All right? And that's just the way I feel. Take it whichever way you want, because it's happening the exact way it's supposed to. All right? So I'm trying to go all the way back. Hold on for a second. I'm going back here to, hold on for 1 second. Boom. Let me see if I can pull this up. All right. All right. 2011. I think it's 2011. Where's right here? Okay, that was in what? 2011. Child support services. All right, check this out. All right, hold on for a second. Let me get back to the live stream. Go ask these people where they was in 2011. Go ask them that. Let me show y'all real quick. 2011. I was out in the streets fighting on father's behalf. And guess what? They were not from the Caribbean. The majority of them was from New York, Brooklyn, New York. What date this says right here? Huh? 14 years ago. Go ask these people, where were they at 14 years ago when I was in the streets doing this? Go ask them. And that time, my YouTube channel was called, I had another YouTube channel and a website called, the website was called You Can't Handle the Truth. I've been doing this 14 years ago. 14 years ago. I got receipts. So when y'all coming at me, show some respect, man. Some of you were still in Pampers 14 years ago. In Pampers. Pay attention.
Administration for Children's Services is a ripoff. They are not, their whole purpose solely is to destroy families, whether they're black, Hispanic, low income housing. I don't care what it is. They're discriminating against the minorities. Okay? There are people who don't know their rights. They manipulate you. They use terms such as the courts frown upon this. They use terms as it's court ordered, it's procedure. They manipulate you to convince you to incriminate yourself. All right, there are parents that are good parents, that are loving parents who are in a struggle to provide for their family. ACS, apparently, whatever you share with them can and will be used against you, okay, to help destroy the families of whether they're black, whether they're Hispanic, whether they're foreign, such as um, Hindu, Muslim. All of these individuals are at risk of being subject to individual field workers who just manipulate their powers, abusive their authority. I just feel that many people need to be aware. As soon as ACS comes into your life, as soon as they come to you, get a lawyer. Get
So you see, so like I said, man, I've been doing this. Oh, here goes another one. Here goes another one. I keep telling y'all, man. That's why I keep telling y'all. Y'all gonna keep showing your face. What have I done from the Caribbean? Like I said, man. You people, man. Don't worry about that, man. The ancestors are gonna deal with y'all, though. Okay. Guess what? I am home. Just in case you didn't know, I am home. All right. All right. Y'all gonna learn though. You're gonna learn. You're gonna learn though. I am home. You see, and that's why I tell people it doesn't matter how much you make an attempt to stand on the principles of bringing your people together. They're always going to be individuals. They're always going to be individuals. You feel me? But I'm always going to stay rising above. You don't realize that. I'm always going to, because I get it. What I get, a lot of people don't get, is fine. So I'm not even going to take this out of context because I already see, that energy that you're coming with. But I'm not going to allow you to take me there. You did. I'm not going to do that. Nah, I got to do a class at 6 o'clock. So I'm just going to chill and relax myself and continue to do what I do. But you see, since 2011, I've been fighting this system. Okay. Helping brothers with child support situations. I was one of the first ones to do a whole rally in front of the family court in 2000, and I would say that was about 2006, I think. Okay, over 21 years ago, I did a rally in front of the family court. Okay, that was even on the local news. So I've been doing this. So this is nothing new to me. It's always been in my nature. You did? Always been in my nature. But like I said, y'all continue to do the separating of original indigenous people. Go ahead and do that. All right. But I'm not going to feed into that type of energy. I'm not going to do that because you see, I'm not focused on battles. I'm focused on the war. I'm not focused on battles. All right. And when the colonizers ready to show their true face and it all hit the fan, guess what? Guess whose side you'll be fighting next to? It wouldn't be the colonizer. All right. I'll be on that battlefield. All right. So y'all keep thinking these people are playing games with indigenous people. Just keep thinking that. Okay? Yeah, because everything is sweet because they're not ready yet. But trust me, man, they putting things together. Oh, they are. They putting things together. As we talk right now, they orchestrating. That's what they do. All right? And a lot of you think it's a joke, you think it's a game. These people don't care about nobody else except on or a period. Sometimes not even their own. The only thing they care about is the bottom line. What is the bottom line? Money, control, and power. Control, money, and power. That's it. That's all they care about. You feel me? So if we can't wake up and see what it is, then it's all right. That's just what it is, man. But I'm going to continue to, talk about the collective, keep teaching our people how to secure themselves in the system, how to correct their status the proper way, how to do the genealogy. I'm going to continue to do what I was sent here to do. You feel me? I am home. I don't know where you came from, but I know I'm home. It doesn't matter what you say or any colonizer say. I know I'm home. You did? So I'll leave it as that. So with that being said, man, I'm about to conclude this live. Thank you as always, all right, for being a part of the live. All I could do is ask people to continue to move in righteousness. That's all I could do. I cannot force you to do anything. All I could do is suggest continue to move in righteousness. Because when it's all said and done, guess what? This has nothing to do with being American. This has nothing to do with being European. This has nothing to do with being African. This has nothing to do with being Asian. When it's all said and done, it's going to be good versus evil. That's it. The righteous versus the unrighteous. Everything we're doing right now is just going through the process of weeding out amongst ourselves. Even in Africa, it has to happen. Even in Africa, the separation has to happen. Even in Europe, it has to happen. Even in Asia, it has to happen. You know why? Because it's going to be a collective consciousness of the righteous versus the unrighteous. So because I know the bigger picture, I'm not going to take none of the personal attacks. I'm not going to take it seriously because I'm focused on the bigger picture. Bringing back abundance here on earth. But first, we got to start at home. You dig? And that's what I'm focused on. So I know what's happening. The purge is actually happening. And people don't realize that. And a lot of people are actually going to purge themselves out because of their own actions, because of the content of their heart. They are going to purge their own selves. And they're not even going to realize that. I'm speaking from a whole metaphysical, spiritual perspective. So some people may not get it, and it's okay. You dig? Because you are not there yet. I get it. But a lot of you do get it. So that's a beautiful thing. Can you imagine a world where we don't have to succumb to the colonizer? We don't have to buy food. We don't have to pay rent. We don't have to buy water. Our skies are no longer being chemtrailed. How about that for a change? How about fighting for that? That's what I'm fighting for. Can you imagine a world where our people are traveling and when we hear the sirens, whoop, whoop, we don't have to start sweating because it's the police? That's what I'm fighting for. Okay? That's what I'm fighting for. I don't smoke, I don't drink, but how about a world where it's a plant that God gave people for the healing of the nation? But we have thousands and thousands of our people in jail for the same plant that God gave people as herbs for the healing of the nation. You see, those are the things I'm fighting for. So yes, my fight is different from yours. You may be fighting for a paycheck, but I'm fighting for sovereignty of my people. You did? So I'll give you a chance to deal with your own insecurities. So I'm not worried about it. I saw your flag, so I already know what you stand on. You dig? The flag that we have, it's about the collective. And I promise you, the collective will always win the battle against the individual. I'm going to repeat that. The collective will always win the war against the individual. So if y'all want to stay individualized, go ahead and do that. The collective will always win. And guess who is the majority in terms of collective right now? The colonizers and their agenda. You feel me? So people may not see it, and some will see it. Can you imagine in the book, whether you call it a good book or a bad book, but it did say it's going to take 144,000. Imagine that, right? Less than 0.0 something percent, because 7 billion people on earth, and the book says it's going to take less than 100. It's going to take 144,000 to create that spark. Guess what? I am one of those 144,000. And I'm certainly sure there are people listening right now. They are also part of that. So we already know that we are going to be just fine. We are the ones that's going to change the world. We are the ones that's going to bring back law and order on our ancestral land. We already know that. And there's nothing that none of y'all could do about it. Nothing. You know why? Because the ancestors will not allow you to do that. So you're just in your emotion, and I get it. You feel me? But I'm about to conclude because, like I said, I got to go teach a class. But in closing, I would like every individual to do your genealogy. Okay? I've done classes on that, and I've done it for free. All right? I have a book on myniji.com. Let me show it to you real quick, where you could go ahead and get the book as well. The book, it literally, I mean, I'm telling you, it's not a hard read at all. Okay, it's not a hard read at all. Hold on for a second. All right, go to the website. I'm gonna share my page, and the book is only about, I think, $12 or something, like $12, $13, and it's gonna teach you. Oh, no doubt, I'm always gonna work the good work, brother. I'm not worried about the people that come up against me. Like I said, I'm used to it from day one. When I first started doing this, telling what people we were actually indigenous, since then, they were coming up against me. So I'm not even worried about it. I ain't worried about that. See, the ancestors built me for this, so I'm not even worried about that. So I'm good. But yeah, I appreciate you. All right, so when you go to myniji.com, right, you're going to scroll down to the book that says right here. I'll show it to you right here. All right. My grandma told me I had a little bit of Indian in me. It teaches you how to do your genealogy step by step. All right. So you could go to myniji.com. All right. myniji.com. And the book is only what? I think it's like about $12 or $13, but it teaches you how to do your genealogy in step and exactly what to do. All right. So you guys definitely want to get that for sure, for sure. So you don't have to pay people $1,400 to do your genealogy. I mean, I heard people charging $1,400. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. All right. So, all right. Yeah, man. Yeah. No doubt, man. No doubt. Like, I'm not even worried about that. I'm going to continue to, fight the good fight, brother. I ain't worried about it. Or COZ, what's going on? What's going on? Welcome to the BOZ. I'm definitely getting ready to wrap it up because I got to get ready for our class. You see what I'm saying? So about to do that right now. But I just want to come, once again, just give the FBA perspective, and the reason why, our brothers and sisters who identify as FBA, why they had to, feel the need to defend themselves. You dig? And I get it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it. So all that is part of the growing pains. All that is part of the, the healing process. All that is part of, putting things in perspective. I get it. And I know that everything is actually going to work out. You dig? Because so it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. And guess what it was in the beginning? Our ancestors traveled this entire landmass, building with each other. You did? So I'm not even worried about it. That's why the majority of fruits and everything, food, natural food, the majority of the natural food, that's why it's grown in South America and all over the Caribbean. And our ancestors knew that. Natural food. You feel me? So we have to get back to that. So we're able to do what we used to do before those colonizers came here and create this division that's happening right now. So I'm focused on the bigger picture. And I'm always going to do that. Unity is strength. The collective is strength. We are not living in a frequency of individualism. The only room for individualism or tribalism in today's day and age is you doing your own individual work. But once that's done, then you have to come together with the collective. That's the only thing that Mother Earth have room for. Why do you think the world is pushing, the governments of the world, they are pushing one world governments? Do you know why? Because they know it's time for the world to come together collectively, mentally, consciously. So they're trying to always be one step ahead. We know people are supposed to be coming together. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to start creating division. So once that one world government come together, it's under our own. It's under our own influence. They are subjected to us. But that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not the way it's supposed to be. So we have to keep fighting for that. And I'm gonna continue to keep fighting for that. I will always fight the oppressor. I'm not going to blame anybody else for anything that we are actually dealing with today. I'm looking at the people that's pulling the strings. I'm not going to fight my brother or my sister for what's happening to us as a collective. I'm not going to do that. No. I want the head of the snake. You see, too many of us looking to fight the tail, and we're trying to cut off the tail. All these individual little situations that's happening, that's just part of the tail. But the head of the snake, it's still there. We need the head of the snake. That's what we need. And that's what I'm coming for. Whatever the snake is, you feel me? That's what I'm coming for. And that's how we're going to win this battle. Not the battle, but the war. Because we should not be focused on battles. Because you will take L's in individual battles. You will win some, you will lose some. But we have to make sure we win the war. And that's where my focus is. All right? So with that being said, man, thank y'all for being a part of the build. Once again, I hope the message was received, okay, with the intentions and the love that it was given. You did. That's all I could say. I cannot make you feel any way about anything that I say, except that I'm always just going to speak my heart and speak my mind. And that's just what it is. That's just what it is. I'm just so sick and tired of all the fighting, all the division, while the situations never change. You feel me? I wanted to come to a point where we are able to walk into these jails and take our brothers and sisters out of these jails for all these minor infractions, because the system feel they have the power to do that. You see, my fight is bigger than all these individuals that's out here trying to hate me. I don't care about that. My fight is with the system that's crippling our people. That's it. It's not individual. That's why I don't hate nobody. I don't care who they are. I don't hate Caucasian people. I don't hate Africans. I don't even hate Native Americans. All I know is this. It's imperative that we come together on one accord and stand up and fight for what's ours. And I'll leave it as that. All right? I'll catch you guys on the next live, whenever that is. I'm going to get ready for my class in about 13 minutes, all right? I'll continue to love and spread positive information. You dig? One love.